This is Pana on the microphone in his room saying good morning YouTube. As I mentioned on the last video, I said I'd make a video talking about a story that may or may not blow your minds. As you can see from the title, I wasn't joking. Regardless, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the very first time I did acid. Yup. To be honest, the first 4 hours of the trip was actually pretty great. Then the rest of the trip turned to shit. I even got kicked out of my house before I started the trip, so that was fun. Before we get into this video, please make sure to give this video a like, subscribe if you're new to my content, and don't forget to click on the notification bell to be notified whenever I upload. Let's play Taking Acid While Homeless. Once upon a time, I woke up to my parents throwing all of my shit out of the window. This took place 3.5 weeks ago in my room. It was a Thursday morning. My mom was mad at me because she had told me to move all of the junk she put in my room the day prior so she can have space to paint my room. She wanted to paint my room gray too, which makes my room more depressing to be in. I didn't finish the job she wanted me to do in time, which caused her to throw a fit. I tried to get her to stop throwing my shit out of the window, but she wouldn't stop. We ended up getting into an argument. My mom tells me that I'm getting kicked out for good the day I turn 18. I called her a bitch. My stepdad steps in and threatens me again, and then they both kicked me out. Dude, sometimes I can't with my parents. Like, these motherfuckers are a lot to handle. I literally woke up to them throwing my shit out of the window. So right off the bat, I'm walking on the side of the road. I'm hitting people up on my phone, looking for a place to stay. It's like 8:30 in the morning. I'm tired as fuck. My ass was walking for a straight hour before I decided to stop at a park. One of my friends, we'll call him Kendrick, he then shoots me a call saying that he's with someone and that I can roll with them while they're making moves until we can all together find a place for me to sleep. A few minutes later, they pull up to the park to pick me up and we hung out. One of the friends I was with was an acid dealer and he had acid on him. I always wanted to try it because I'm the type of guy that likes weed and psychedelics. So I asked him if I could try a tab, and he actually gave one to me free of charge because he knew I haven't had a job in a while and that it would be my first time. So I took the tab. I didn't really feel the effects of acid until about an hour into it. I was just getting into the bits of it. What I remember is after I started feeling the bits, my friend picked up this one dude to come and smoke us up. We went to his garage after we picked up wraps and the weed. We smoked the blunt, and that's when my high just peaked. I mean, I wasn't being too dumb like a tweak, but I had a pretty good time. After the smoke sesh, anything else I can remember is sitting in the back seat of Kendrick's car for hours. The only thing that was irritating me was the sound wave of traveling at fast speeds, if that makes any sense. I don't know. It was a sound going on whenever my friend was driving fast down a highway or something. So it's like 12:30 on a Thursday night. I still haven't found a place to sleep, so I'm still cooling it in the backseat of Kendrick's car with him and another friend we picked up not too long ago from then. The acid dealer got dropped off a fat minute ago. We were on the highway, on our way to town because we were going to a forest far away, but they changed their minds. On the way back, we got pulled over. Dude, the amount of anxiety I had was too much. I was like almost 10 hours into my trip, so it wasn't completely over. I had anxiety because the last thing I needed was for a cop to tell us to get out of the car or ask for our IDs or take a look at my eyes. I don't know if my mom had called me in as a runaway after she kicked me out like the million other times she has, and it was past curfew. The cop told my friend that he was going like 15 over the speed limit, but luckily he ended up giving him a warning, probably because he was 17, not 18. Oh my god, relief galore. So it's like 2 in the morning. We're just chilling in the parking lot with some strangers. The driver had passed the fuck out. I was still off the shits. I then get on Snapchat to see if anyone is awake, and at first, no luck. 5 minutes later, I go back on it, and I see that a friend, we'll call him Miles, he was up and was looking for people to slide with some drugs. Without a second thought, I blew up his phone until he answered. I told him about my situation and that I was off acid. I also asked if me and my friends could spend the rest of the night at his place. He said yes. Thank fuck. I told them that we would be there after we'd wake up Kendrick and hung up the phone. The strangers decided to call it a night and we went back to Kendrick's car. After we somehow managed to wake up Kendrick, we got on our way to Miles' house. During the drive, we could tell that Kendrick was tired as fuck. Like, he was weaving in and out of his conscience. The other friend and I were trying to keep him as awake as possible. Finally, we pulled up to his place. Kendrick said he was just going to pass out in the whip. The other friend and I went inside. Us two, Miles and his girlfriend, were cooling it in the living room until the friend I was with decided to go home for the night. She lived down the street. Miles told me that he had a job interview to go to at 9 o'clock the same morning and that he wanted to wake up around 6, which sounded fucking off to me because if I had shit to do around that time, I wouldn't be up at 2 in the morning looking for people to bring drugs to my house. But after he told me that, him and his girlfriend went to their room to slump. I slumped on the couch and I didn't even pass out till like 4:30 in the morning. One thing about taking acid is that it fucks with your hunger and your sleep. That's pretty much the only thing I don't like about acid. Food and sleep is a must. So it's Friday morning. I wake up. I checked my phone and it said 9:12. I peeped their room and I noticed they were both slumped still, so I take a breath before I do anything because I already knew once Miles was going to wake up, he was going to be pissed because he had just missed out on a ride to his job interview to get a job that would help him pay the bills to the house, because he owns it now. I wake him up. He wakes his girlfriend up and yells at her because apparently she was supposed to wake him up before the interview. Then Miles said that I had to leave because he didn't want me to be around when his dad shows up. Miles' parents are pretty strict, and I respected that. I know how it is. But I was still homeless as fuck, and I ended up walking around the streets for like 3 hours until Miles called me back saying I could come back. Fast forward to later on Friday night. It was only around 8:30, but I was tired as fuck. I had came down from acid and I only had like 5 hours of sleep the night prior, not even. We had a bunch of people over smoking and shit, and I didn't even want to smoke because of how tired I was. So I went downstairs to take a fat nap. About an hour later, when it started to get dark, Miles wakes me up and tells me that I have to sleep upstairs because apparently he didn't trust me to be downstairs by myself. I wasn't proud of that because I didn't even give him a reason to not trust me, let alone being slumped the whole time. Plus, there's no air conditioning upstairs, and it was deep too, so you can imagine it was very humid up there as well. So I went upstairs to an empty room, passed out on the floor for a couple more hours, and then Miles wakes me up again at midnight. I asked him what he wanted, and he told me to leave. At first, I was confused because I had thought we agreed on living with each other, especially because we've spent the last 2 months talking about it. And it was his idea, but he woke me up to tell me that I can't move in unless if I pay off my fair share of the rent, which is about $650. I told him that I got kicked out of my house, it's past curfew, and I don't have anywhere else to go, but it seemed that it was more important for Miles to have the house to himself and his girlfriend for the night. So I had no other option but to leave. So I'm walking on the street. It's almost 1 in the morning. I had nowhere to go, and my phone was dead. I ended up doing a little bit of trespassing. I went into somebody's backyard and used their outlet, hoping that I didn't get caught by anyone. Luckily, I didn't, though. I got my phone to about 10%, and then I dipped. I called one of my friends, we'll call him John, and at first he didn't answer. He then called me back a minute later. I told him basically what I said from the start of this story video to getting kicked out of Miles' house, and I asked him if I could spend a night or two at his place. He lives like 15 miles out, but he said he would be able to drive down here to pick me up with his girlfriend. As he arrived, I noticed another car with bright headlights, and as it drives by, I saw it was a cop. When the cop drove by, I noticed that he was looking directly at me for a solid 3 seconds. And that freaked me the fuck out. It was over an hour past curfew, and I still wasn't sure if my mom had called me in as a runaway or not. But I hopped in John's truck, the cop turned around, we got on the main road, the cop got right behind us, pulled us the fuck over. He asked for all of our IDs, and once again, my anxiety goes. The cop came back with our IDs, asked us what we were doing by the high school at 1:30 in the morning. John told him that I just needed a ride to his place. After he gave back the IDs, he recognized me. He knew exactly who I was because he's been called to my house multiple times for the past several years, along with a bunch of his partners. He even remembers the one time he and a partner of his found me sleeping on a bench at like 3 in the morning after being gone for a week. That was last summer. Stay tuned to Hummocks and Benches, a part of a miniseries coming on August 12th. After he recognized me, he gave us a warning and told us to go home. I was so glad that the cop didn't say anything about me being a runaway because I was so fucking tired. I haven't gotten a full night's rest since that acid trip, and had the cop brought me home, my mom would have continued to lie to the cop about my living situation, and my stepdad would have confronted me and given me his form of punishment and or kicked me out again, causing me not being able to sleep for the next several hours. But the cop just told us off, and we all went on our way. As soon as I got to my friend's couch, I ate some of their hot Cheetos and passed the fuck out. So it's a Saturday morning. About a few hours later, after I wake up, John figured that we should go back to Miles' house so we can talk to him about my living situation. We went to Miles' house at around noon and we talked. He said that he didn't trust people spending the night, which doesn't make much sense to me because quite personally, I don't fuck over any of my friends and I would never try to temper my chances of having a roof to sleep under. But I guess whatever Miles says is the move. I ended up hanging out with Miles for the day and spending another night at John's. I woke up Sunday morning and John asked me what my plan is. I told him that my only option at that point was to go back home and face my parents. Oh boy. So, John's girlfriend ended up dropping me off at home. I knocked on the door, and my brother answered. My parents were actually asleep. I go to my room, and things were different. I have 2 dressers instead of 3, and one of the dressers I have now isn't even mine. The screen on the laptop I had for a while was ripped off, but the computer itself still works. I had a bunch of other things in a basket just chilling in the garage. Didn't have windows, only tinted plastic with a few holes. Therefore, bugs would be coming into my room, especially at night. But that problem was fixed just last week. I didn't have a bed anymore, so I've been sleeping on the couch ever since I came back. My room color is gray instead of blue, which to me is a lot more depressing. But yeah, I was back, hung out with Miles again, came back, and once again, my parents acted like not shit happened. The end. The moral of the story is, don't do acid. Ever. Don't kick your kids out of the house, otherwise shit like this happens. Don't rely on your girl to wake you up for an interview. Don't do drugs, stay in school, get good grades, have a fun summer, and keep watching my YouTube videos. One more thing before I put an end to this lengthy video, I mentioned that Miles was planning on renting the house his parents gave to him after they moved out about a month ago. He has to pay rent at the end of July, otherwise he's getting evicted. I doubt he's going to be able to get the house due to all the shit that's happened, but then again, you never know. It still kind of upsets me because I was planning on moving away from my psychotic parents for months, and it pretty much went down the drain after him and his girlfriend broke up, before all that shit happened. Miles had like 5 people, including me, that was going to help him out with the rent, but as of right now, the house is trashed. His girlfriend took all of her shit, including the majority of the furniture in the house. I don't even know if anyone's still trying to move in with him other than me. Some people kind of doubted my chances for that, but I actually have an interview at a hotel today at 10:30. One of my other friends hooked me up with a job, and apparently my starting pay at the front desk would be about $13 an hour. I'm hoping I get this job, because not only am I going to be able to buy the shit I never had this time, but I still have the chance to leave my fucking parents. But shit, you can only wish for the best, you know? Thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you're new to my content, and don't forget to click on the notification bell to be notified whenever I upload. Follow me on all of my social media. The links will be in the screen and in the description below. Share this video to anyone that has ever done acid before, and I'll see y'all next Monday with another story that includes me almost getting arrested again. Peace out, sauce.